right. Hello and welcome back to I Disagree with What This Person Said. I'm your host, Dolan. I'm your host, Dolan of Interbeing Art, and today I disagree with the acclaimed psychonaut Dennis McKenna, most well known for being the brother of Terence McKenna. He has his own acclaimed career of his own and has done some notable work, such as his latest book, The Screaming Abyss. I agree with a lot of what Dennis McKenna says most of the time, but this one interview clip that was released on London Real, I take particular trouble with. Without further ado, let's get into this juicy hot take of an interview clip.
He stopped taking psychedelics, or stopped taking them regularly and at high doses for at a certain period in his life. And this was part of the crisis of his life, I think, that he was in at that time. He was having existential anxiety in a certain way, and he was beginning to question a lot of things. And I think, he was having personal issues and questioning his whole career and the time wave and everything, his marriage, his public role, and all that. And I think that it was hard on him. I mean, I used to say, and I think that's true to a certain extent, I used to say that he stopped taking psychedelics regularly when it stopped really being about the alien and the other, and it became more about himself, looking at himself through that mirror, and that was uncomfortable. And he stepped back from it for a while. He continued to take psychedelics, but not in great quantities. I was critical of that. I was saying, well, look, you're the main spokesman for psychedelics in the world. That's how you're presenting yourself. You're not taking psychedelics, so what's going on? You need to be walking your talk if you're gonna do this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stop it there. So there's a few points there. He led in with the fact that Terence was going through a rough time in his life and that he started slowing down taking psychedelics. And as he explained, it led to conflict within their sibling relationship. And Dennis McKenna's view is that Terence needs to be walking his talk, as in taking high doses regularly. Honestly, I can't help but see this as abusive. This is a person who's going through a hard time in their life. They've already been well experienced in high dose psychedelic trips. Why push them to keep going and do it regularly? As this other person pointed out in the comments, some people will want to take high doses frequently, others won't, and that's absolutely okay. If your brother or anybody that you love, and this is my message to anybody who's into psychedelics or has loved ones that are into psychedelics, if they're going through a hard time in their life, you are further alienating them by pushing them to do something that they're not comfortable doing at that time in their life. I know psychedelics don't really compare well to a lot of other experiences. Imagine, if you will, a surfer, an acclaimed surfer who does talks about surfing, and for whatever reason they have a traumatic experience with surfing and they just want to take a break from surfing for a while. They are still educated enough in surfing to be able to talk to people about it. That's absolutely valid. You don't have to go up to them and say oh, you need to walk your talk and be surfing every day or whatever. It's rude and insensitive and absolutely just wrong too. And then this comment about how his trips stopped becoming about the alien and the other and started becoming about him, or a reflection of himself. Psychedelics are an introspective tool. Psychedelic means mind revealing, as in your own mind revealing. So to criticize somebody's trips saying that, oh, you're tripping too reflectively, what does that even mean? You're tripping too reflectively? Oh my god. There's no one right way to take psychedelics, so, just step off a little bit, especially during your brother's difficult time in their life. Hey, future editing Dolo here. I just realized that I didn't make this point, but I'm not trying to say that Dennis McKenna is an abuser. Like, I really don't want to give that impression. Terrence and Dennis obviously really love each other and have written books together. As far as I could tell, Dennis is a good person, and I would not characterize him as an abuser. Back to the video.
You're a tough brother to have, aren't you?
Well, I am, but I felt that true. I said it out of love and concern, and he resented it.
That's totally fair to resent it. A lot of times family members will do stuff that is either abusive or toxic, and a common defense of those actions will be that they're doing it out of love, but that doesn't stop the fact that it's hurting the person you love. You may think you're doing it out of love, but if the person you love are saying that it's hurting them, then I don't know, maybe reassess your position.
I resented it. I said those things, and he wasn't too happy about that. But then, on the other hand, maybe he had a point. I mean, he certainly had taken his share of psychedelics and at high doses, and you don't really have to apologize for somebody. I mean, Terrence McKenna does not need to apologize to anybody, even his brother, about his use of psychedelics. He's been there, he understands it.
This point I agree with, and is basically what I was just saying. I just find it weird that Dennis McKenna acknowledges the fact that he doesn't need to apologize to anybody because he's had these high dose experiences, he's had breakthrough experiences, he's been there. But then on the other hand, maintain this attitude that if you're going to be talking about these substances, you have to be consistently taking high doses. And honestly, frankly, that's just straight up dangerous. If somebody had a negative experience with psychedelics and wants to take a break from it, it's not chill for a friend or anyone to push them back into it.
And we have an argument sometimes because Terrence would say, well, he would quote Ram Dass, I think it was, or maybe it was Alan Watts, who said once, about psychedelics, well, once you get the message, hang up the phone. Terrence would say that as a kind of excuse for not taking psychedelics. And that used to make me quite irritated because I would say, it's not an answering machine, it's a teacher. You have an ongoing dialogue with this thing. It's not like it's one big download, you get the message and you hang up the phone. You continue the conversation because you still have a lot to learn.
Here I agree with Dennis McKenna and disagreeing with Alan Watts, but I also disagree with Dennis McKenna's reason for disagreeing with Alan Watts. I am on fire with disagreeing with people today. Like, show me a psychedelic figurehead and I'm gonna knock them down, I swear to God. No, but seriously, I agree with Dennis with that psychedelics aren't just an answering machine in the sense that you get a message and then you can just move on with your life. That was kind of like a simplistic view of the psychedelic experience, in my opinion. And I also agree with Dennis McKenna that it's an ongoing conversation, but I would add that you can start and end the conversation whenever you choose. The point that I really disagree with Dennis McKenna here is that I don't think psychedelics are teachers. Saying psychedelics are teachers is like saying hiking up a mountain is a teacher. These experiences you can learn a lot from. So in that sense, I think it would be silly to say that once you've gotten the message of climbing a mountain, hang up the phone, you've had that experience. That might be an experience that you want to repeat and you could continually learn from. But you don't want to well all your information from one water hole. That's a weird analogy. My point is that you, in terms of what you learn, you want to diversify your teachers in the sense of experiences that you learn from. So maybe I agree with Dennis. No, when people talk like this, it gives the impression that there's some godlike guru on the other side of a psychedelic experience that's just waiting for you and is there to teach you some type of experience. This can be really negative when it comes to people having negative or traumatic experiences with psychedelics, because if I were to go to somebody who just had a really rough experience and then told them, oh, the mushroom was trying to teach you something by fucking you up mentally. Yeah, that's not a good lesson. Any teacher that excuses abusive behavior as trying to teach you a lesson is just That's not chill. If the mushroom or any other psychedelic is said to be an animate other, then their practices are often abusive, and I don't know. In all honesty, that's why it's not really appropriate, because there isn't just one teacher teaching you things. You're learning from an experience. So
that's why I suppose I still take psychedelics. I take them all the time, and I don't feel I've learned anything. I mean, I feel I've learned stuff, but I don't feel I've learned everything there is to know. They're still teaching me. I still have them as a mentor, and that's an ongoing conversation. And, so that's my approach to it. People say, why do you keep taking this after 40 years? Because I'm still learning from it. Plus, I also enjoy it. I've learned from it, enjoy it.
nice.
Say, well, I've been eating chocolate for 40 years too, and I have no intention of stopping. Why would I?
And that last point, again, I agree with. Like, if you are a type of person that feels like they can constantly learn from taking high-dose mushrooms, it's not interfering in your life, it's not hurting your relationships with people, then I don't see any harm with it. But yeah, the reason why I take so offense to this is because I've noticed this trend on YouTube where psychedelic YouTubers feel this pressure to constantly be doing psychedelics, and I think it's very unhealthy. For a long time I felt like I needed to do more psychedelics in order to stay relevant on YouTube, but the truth is that I haven't really hit any barriers in terms of my content or things that I want to talk about. I'm still highly interested in salvia, despite the fact I haven't had a breakthrough trip in like multiple years. A lot of other people I talk to in the salvia community either hasn't broken through on salvia or hasn't even tried it or does it very rarely. And again, that's absolutely fine because these are still very interesting subjects to talk about. It's not for everyone. Not everyone will want to do it all the time. And if you haven't ever had a psychedelic experience but want to talk about it, I'll listen. I'm still interested. It's totally okay. A-okay. Whoosh, another video in the bag. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like this video and then comment on this video. Comment Dennis the Menace McKenna down in the comments for no reason whatsoever. Subscribe if you haven't already and ring that bell. Trying my best to come out with these videos every week. Here are my patrons who help keep this channel going. Thanks for watching. Peace.